What's up, everybody? It is November 7th at 11 a.m. on the West Coast. And a few of my favorite people at Rise, I really just grabbed the best looking people at Rise to hop on really quick and just do a recap for anyone that wasn't able to make it to Rise. Sometimes things get a little bit convoluted. You're just watching stories and things like that, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we felt, who impacted us, what were some of the big announcements, what were some of the things that happened there that you missed out on, and to try to bring a little bit of that home. So let's start with the Hatch Daddy, Erik Hatch. For you, kind of overall impressions from Rise 2025.
You know, sometimes you go to the same party over and over and over again, and you feel like Will Ferrell, and you walk in and be like, I've been coming to the same party for 15 years, and this isn't all. I don't have the quote down, but like at least have the heart of it of like, man, you're still so excited to be there. And I'll be honest, before Rise happened, I was coming off of a long travel trip and was on the road a lot. And so I was like, okay, same thing once again. And Joe, I was pretty wrong. Like, I showed up, there was a vibe with the crew. There was an energy that was there. It felt like the first time. And maybe I'm seeing it in different eyes now, but like we've had some different chapters. We had the work hard, be kind season. That was the first time most of us were there, at least knowing the people on this call. And then we had like the Sharon season, where it's like, okay, that guy is such an energy giver and life giver to it. And now like Sharon is in a very different seat being on the board. And we were looking around saying, okay, what's this going to be? And so it felt new in that kind of sense. And the energy that I brought to it was the wrong energy, because the moment I got there, like there was this change. And so I felt like from moment one, I was so glad to be there. But by the end of it, I had like a newfound hope and belief and excitement in this company that I don't remember having before. Like it always felt good, but now I'm like, oh man, we got the greatest thing going. Yeah. I just felt like I was lucky because I was early, but now I'm lucky because I'm in the right place.
No, that's awesome. Tamara,
I'm glad you went that direction, because I thought you were going to go with the slapping Chris Rock direction with the Will Smith comment. I mean, it's better.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Yeah. Tamara, was this your first Rise?
No, this was not my first Rise. This was my third Rise, actually. And I was kind of feeling like Erik. I wasn't really sure what to expect. We've seen a lot of changes, and things are, this year has been so interesting. And I just was blown away, to be honest with you. I think the thing that captured me the most was how they Real just keeps delivering on staying ahead. For me, I was an independent broker before, Joe, and I always felt like I was like this small fish in a big pond, and just trying to always, especially with the tech, I'm super into tech, and always trying to just stay ahead and stay on top of that. And in the almost 3 years that I've been at Real, things have changed dramatically. Even when we use the word tech, it changes every minute. Mm-hmm. And so that would have been an impossible challenge for me. And sitting in that room, especially when they brought out the Hey Leo, and knowing that there's a lot of people who were sideways, for example, about Zillow being in Chat GPT. I mean, this blows it away. I was just like, oh, we got this, and to be a part of that, I find that there's just so much value in what we're doing. And again, for me, having once felt I was so small, now it's just like we're so big and we're so on top of things. And then, capping on what Erik said, just watching everyone and seeing how everyone connects and the energy. And even with the party, I loved how everyone just got so into character and their costumes and
let's
put
be
forth
honest.
so much.
Jordan Terrell already looks like Pitbull, so he just wore sunglasses. So not all of us had to transform into character.
It was just great. Honestly, the whole experience, even before with your video, Joe, that you posted, gave me so much FOMO. I couldn't wait to get there. And last year was huge for me. For whatever reason, I really left there a different person. And I was thinking this year would not be as impactful. And honestly, since I've been home, all I've been doing is thinking and wanting to rebuild and do things differently and take advantage of everything that I've learned, which is always the challenge, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, Jordo, how about you, man? Team of the year, best looking team, top producing team, most profitable team. Like what was your overall impressions of the conference?
I got to come in with a different perspective in that I had some friends attending from other brokerages, and these are great brokerages.
So you were kind of seeing it through their eyes almost.
Yeah, I was seeing it through their eyes, and like naturally a little nervous. Like, all right, I really want them to like this. So I hope
it's like inviting a friend to church. You're like, man, I
hope they don't do the weird shit today. And these guys are coming from like great brokerages and like where they have nothing to have any shame around. And the perspective that I just kept hearing over and over is like, wow, like everyone is so collaborative and is so open and sharing everything. And like, I'm getting more out of these workshops than I've gotten in years of all the classes and all the things that are being offered. And like, even on like things like where people might say Real's not really good at luxury, or Real's not really good at this, or Real's just has cool sneakers and cool videos. But the real luxury breakout, I mean, they were getting more out of that luxury breakout than they've gotten from their luxury brokerage that's well known as a luxury brokerage. And so like things like that, and even like the heart that comes from the mouth of Tamir, like when he speaks, it just feels like family. And like Tamara said, like people showing up to the party and like actually dressing up and not just going, oh, it's just some silly party where we get an excuse to drink. It was like, no, people were like in character. And the fact that I mean, even like Tamir dressing up the way he did, I mean, like it was absolutely
I was in the elevator
hilarious.
with him and he's asking me, hey, do you know where the party is? And I'm looking and I'm like, who is this guy? And then I heard his voice and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was really, people would come down the elevator and I was like, I don't know who you are. If they didn't have their name tag on, it was tough. Well, Liz, what number of rises is for you? Elizabeth?
Hi, sorry, my connection was, could you see that?
Yeah, you were frozen. I was like, she must not hear me.
Yeah.
So was this, what number of rise was this for you?
Sorry, can you say that again? It was just.
How many rise? Is this your first rise, third rise?
Oh, it's my fourth rise and then fifth with Summit in Canada. So I'm going to go ahead and count that. Yeah, it was so good. What were your
overall impressions kind of walking away?
Oh, well, I mean, Tamara and Erik and Jordan all said the same thing. I mean, my team didn't come this year and I was so sad because normally my team comes with, it just didn't work out. And, it just really gets me excited about what's to come and gets me going for the new year. I was getting a little bit burnt out from doing events and traveling so much. So I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit on the fence about going because I just started thinking like, okay, like what's this going to be like? And then once I got there, I was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm so glad that I didn't decide not to come because it's a big journey for us. There was just, I don't know, just watching everybody speak, like Neil and Jason, like I just took so many things away from them. And then of course, hey, Leo, at the end of the day, I'm really excited to talk to my team about that. and just be able to offer that to our clients. I think it's going to be so exciting because the amount of things that we should be gathering to help our clients, it's just going to be so much easier now, which is I'm really, really looking forward to. And of course, just the energy of the executives and everybody was so excited about everything. The golf tournament was so fun. We had a blast, and then raising all that money it just felt so good. Like there was just so many pieces, everything varied. I was excited the entire time. And then coming home, just like pumped to start implementing things. There's almost too many notes though. I get a bit overwhelmed, just like, oh my gosh, like what am I going to take away and actually start implementing into the business with the team?
So talking about the speakers, like any of you guys, so Sharon spoke, Neil spoke. Who are some of the other speakers, or you could even highlight those guys that really stuck out to you as far as big takeaways? I mean, obviously big energy. Sharon, I'm always worried he's going to have a freaking stroke up there. He's so energetic. But who are some of the speakers that stood out to you guys that made an impact?
I forget the guy's name, but like it's one thing when Neil gets up there or Jason gets up there and they talk about, even though Neil's whole presentation is I was a normal guy and I did this and it worked. Yeah. It's still like sometimes people are so big that you're like, how do I get from, like, he even tells the story, but you still kind of go, how do I get from here to there? But
well, it's like sometimes when Brad talks about content creation, I'm like, well, yeah, dude, I mean, your kids and your wife they're all in and you guys are just doing it. It's like sometimes it's not a ratatouille issue if everyone can cook. So sometimes you do hear speakers and you're like,
yeah. That all being said, though, I forget the guy's name, but the guy from Jacksonville that's doing the AI stuff, like he started an Instagram account 9 months ago. They have like 40,000 followers and like it's all AI driven. And like, I love the practicality of what he communicated. Yeah. I mean, I was like, all right, like, and you know, he was on the top 10 leaderboard with me for large teams. And I'm like, okay, if he can do that, why can't I? Like, and so just little things like that was like very practical. And he was a great communicator. So that he stood out to me in a big way.
What about you, Hatch?
Man, I would never say it to his face, but Tim Macy stole the show for me.
In what way?
Tim is always the guy that's talking about marketing, and he's talking about agent attraction, and he serves really well. But he went in and I think he stole the show because it was just all heart. And he spoke to my soul because he talked about loneliness, and he talked about the entrepreneur's journey, and he talked about his dad a lot. And I'm so lucky to have 2 kids, and I just had to put myself in this role of saying, oh man, do these kids get the best of me or do they get the rest of me? And it was so poignant and powerful how he told that story and was able to weave together these emotions inside of me that left me going like, well, I was so proud of my friend Tim for sharing what he shared, but it hurt my heart for fear of just living this entrepreneur's journey and being lonely and not being enough for my kids. It was really tough.
No, that's great. No, that's awesome. How about you, Tamara? Who's the speaker that really stood out to you?
Oh my gosh, I'm on Erik's path. I was kind of like emotional quite often during this whole journey, the whole 2 days that we were there. I think between Tim and then Sharon's closing with that letter, I just think we're all on a journey and we've all put so much into building what we've built. But things are changing, and now it's almost, for me at least, I feel like I want to do more and I want to be bigger. And seeing and hearing Tim's story was super inspirational, and just hearing his journey. And also, you know, when Sharon just talked about not quitting and not giving up, and it really hit me hard because I think I'm in that boat where it's so easy to not keep going, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, that was huge. And honestly, I thank you too, because you and I had a good heart-to-heart conversation. And I have been, like I said, since I've been home, just like kind of just all this stuff coming at me. And I love that, like, we can spend 2 days and it could be so life-changing by the sharing and the transparency and hearing other people's journeys, and that connection, I've just never felt it anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, Clayton, thanks for hopping on. I know you're driving. What kind of, who, speaker wise, what was a big takeaway for you? Who was somebody that really impacted you this week?
So ditto with everything that I've heard so far. But I am really I'm always looking for ways that just make it easier for me to share this message, and it just got a whole lot easier. Even though the technology hasn't been fully realized yet, I see the vision and of where we're going. And one of the frustrating things for me at EXP was the conversation really revolved around the benefits of our silo and revenue share, and that's really all we had to talk about. And so here it's just much bigger than that, and it just got a whole lot easier for me to have those conversations based on what we released and what we're working on releasing. So it was the very beginning of what Tamir and Pratesh did. I'm just super pumped about.
Yeah. I wrote down a quote. I'm sure you guys heard it and it impacted you as well. Sharon, I don't know. We all have people, speakers and things like that, that just seem to hit harder than others. Sharon said, what do you need to do? What do you need to build to make it unreasonable for you to fail? And that plays to like my geeky, nerdy math mind, where I'm just like, as a Vegas kid, and I live in an odds-based society. Like, what do I need to do to build a business that failure just becomes unreasonable? And Tamara, I think that goes to our conversation as well. Hatch, you were in charge. Talk for a minute about the master classes, because you were tasked with putting together rooms, getting a lot of the GAs stepped up to kind of take tables, take topics. Like, what was the thought there, and what's some of the feedback you received from people who attended?
Well, 97% of people were like, "Oh, I loved it," and then the 3% were like,
"Were at my table."
3% of people were like, "I had a really distracting person in my group." And so I think that, like any situation, sometimes the environment we find ourselves in can either make or break it. But what I love, Joe, is that everybody came out to play. We had almost 2,000 people that were sent to different various rooms to create their own experience. And you could either make it the best 2 hours possible, or it could be just a huge distraction. But the fact that nobody was on their phone for 2 hours is a miracle in and of itself. Right. And then people were going to work on their business intentionally. I think that's a tremendous piece to be able to say, I'm here to fix what's broken in my world, and I'm here to help you with the things that are great in my world. And we could all rip off and duplicate from the person next to us, as well as we could choose to show up and say, I need some help. And the feedback I got, though, of the 97% where people said, hey, that was like my favorite thing that I did today, was because I was able to work on my business. Instead of just hearing from somebody where you feel like they're so beyond where I can be, I was with people that were exactly where I am right now. And so it felt like it was worth doing. I already chatted with Libby, who's in charge of events, and she said we're absolutely doing that again next year. So it felt like it was a good run.
Well, and I almost, just to continue to like scratch your tiny little back, it was like, I spoke at a breakout session and I was like, this kind of sucks compared to like the vibes of everyone being in the room, talking through problems, everyone being heard. And like spring was so good at always just forgetting the narrative and just saying, what are you guys dealing with? What questions do you guys have? What issues are you dealing with? that I or any of us could shed light on. And I felt like that was kind of the genius of what you put together there, was that people were just talking about their real successes, their real failures. Like in our group, it became so manifest that so many people were spending time doing things that they hate doing, that weren't making them money. And so I talked about, the 10-10 activity that Taylor and I will go through, where we write down the 10 ways we make money. We'll write down the 10 things we hate about our business. And then it's funny, you usually will see the number one way you make money, the problems associated are nowhere near the top of that list. And so we kind of went through some of that, which I thought was good. We've got a little bit of time left. Let's get into the technology. So what are your guys' thoughts? What are we going to do with this Hey Leo product? I know for me, as a lead generation guy, I'm totally geeking out to get my hands on that thing, because as a team leader, and Jordo, I'm actually kind of excited to get your thoughts on this. Like, as a team leader, my biggest problem is, from the creation of a contact to the closing of an escrow, the biggest fall through is with half committed, seriously distracted, probably discouraged agents who just aren't willing to give the time it takes to go from contact to contract to close. And I think all of us are really excited to see what Leo's able to do with the humans that we interact with. What were your thoughts, Jordan, on Hey Leo and what Pritesh is trying to build?
Well, I think like one of the challenges we have is just like CRM management, and just like doing the little details, keeping the details, follow up. I love the term AIRM,
right?
Like the play on it just in itself, like the thought that the AI could actually be the CRM manager and could be collecting data, engaging the client. I think if we can teach clients how to adapt and use the technology, if we can use it in like kind of a partnership with like, hey, I'm the agent, this is my assistant, AI assistant, and we're all going to collab. And just the nature of AI being able to know like, hey, the best time to text this person is in 2 weeks based on like all historical data of what's going to generate the best response, right? And so I think agents get busy and trying to keep up with everything, and it takes a really, really organized person to actually follow the CRM. And so like I'm always training agents to like manage their CRM, manage your CRM, and and they can't. And so to think that maybe we're coming into an era where AI can actually assist with that and not just send cheesy texts that don't make sense, or like send a property that's like not even related to the search. And like to think that maybe we could get there, that's where my head's at, because typically we're dealing with agents that team leads are typically attracting newer agents that are needing like a lot of support. So that's where my head's at with it.
Clayton, I know you kind of pointed out the technology. Curious to get your thoughts. What I'm interested in is the mathematics of contact creation to close ratio. And so Tamara, you know very well Angie Lauer, who honestly, she closes about 7% of the gross leads that I give her turn into contracts. She's a monster. But when you blend the average together as a team, we get down into that 2 to 3% ratio, because you have to factor in all the leads given to agents who never work them. So what I'm seriously curious of is when we cherry pick the like slam dunk easy closings, and then we put all of the rest of people who are top of funnel, I'm seriously, curious, can the AI be good enough to out convert the humans, not because humans aren't as good, but because humans are lazy and uncommitted? I wouldn't say that to my agents, but Clayton, what were your thoughts?
Well, so how many of you are using or are familiar with YLobo?
I've used it in the past.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been using AI voice and text for about 3 years now. And because we play the lead generation or, pay for lead game, where Zillow Flex partners, I mean, we've got 110,000 leads in our database. And so there's a very large portion of those leads that go untouched and uncommunicated with. And so every day, AI is bringing conversations, back from the dead, and so I already know that it works. That being said, I think where it becomes more applicable right now, once they get it off the ground, if they can pull this thing off, is teaching agents how to incorporate AI into their business without overcomplicating it. Because look, if it can replace YLOPO, great. If it can't, then it won't for us.
Right.
And so I'm anxious and curious to see what they how they pull this thing off. I've already reached out to Pritesh to ask him if I could be involved with feedback on how to make this the AIRM. I love that as well, Jordan. How they can make that just more consumer friendly and make sure that as consumers are engaging with it, that it is giving them the Zillow-like experience, if not at least comparable, or they're not going to stick around.
Yeah.
So those are my initial thoughts.
Okay. Well, we've got a few minutes left. What I want to do is have each of you just share kind of like a now what. And I'll go first. So I came home from Rise realizing I'm a survivor of CrossFit. I did CrossFit for a long time, and the first rule of CrossFit, Erik, is you always talk about CrossFit, and it was because I believed so much in what I was doing and what it was doing for my health and for like my relationship with my wife that I was like, dude, everybody, you just have to do CrossFit, right? Like it is what it is. I came home from Rise very much acknowledging that our company is going to continue to grow at a relatively rapid pace. Our year-over-year growth numbers continue to lead the industry. We are the fastest growing real estate company in the world. And so I'm living in this time warp of realizing that it's 2025. I think by 2028, if we continue our growth trajectory, we're going to be 60 to 80,000 agents. So the growth ahead of us is significantly larger than the growth behind us. And I truly believe that Real is the best solution for entrepreneurs in the real estate space who are serious about belonging to a company where they can create revenue in multiple ways, but also you don't have to piece parts your technology to run your business. Like Real literally is building that complete ecosystem to allow entrepreneurs to reach their dreams. My number one takeaway, my now what is I just need to make sure that if people are in my world, that if they're at Real, that they understand the opportunity for their friends. And if they're not agents at Real, just that people at least understand what the world has to offer for them at Real. So that was my kind of, not a single takeaway, more of like just a complete belief in what we're building from a cultural, from an economics, from a technology, and from an opportunity perspective. So Liz, what's your takeaway? You're walking away from Rise, now what?
Oh, well, I'm just so excited about everything that we learned. But my main thing that I'd say is I want to be able to offer clarity and tidy things up a bit. Like show, don't tell people what we're doing was one of the big things that I think it was Neil that spoke about. And it's like, how can we show them what we're doing here at Real? How can my team show them the work behind the scenes, that kind of thing? And I want to implement that. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. Hatch?
This actually stems off of the conversation that you and I had, Joe, on the first night after our Growth Ambassadors gathering, and we got insight as to what was happening with all this tech advancement. The moment I learned about this company, they call themselves a tech company, and I think without them looking at me, I rolled my eyes. Because
so easy to say.
I used to be at KW, and they would call themselves a tech company, and like, hey, I thought, yeah, nobody's a tech company, we're a real estate company.
Yeah.
And now they're even saying like, hey, Real is it's a platform, and then brokerage services and tech and all these other things. So I think I'm done rolling my eyes, Joe. And the piece that I'm walking away with is that the value proposition for this company has been and continues to be culture and opportunity. That's why people come and join Real. It's culture and it's opportunity. You love the vibes. You love how it feels. You found your people. You found your tribe. And then you love the economics and the model of it. And you love the different revenue sources. And like, that's all there. But all of a sudden, opportunity has changed. And there's like a different bait that people are going to be biting on to say, I want a piece of this, because Real is cracking the code on how this company will get us more business. Not just from collaboration, not just from training, but now it's cracking the code to say our tools are really going to make you more money. And there's people that say, 87% of people don't have revenue share, and we all have stock, right? And so few people are using wallet, mortgage, and title, and all those things. And people haven't jumped to say this is the thing, but everybody buys and sells houses. And now we've figured out, hey, we can actually get more buyers and we can get more sellers and we can service them better by simply doing our current job and partnering with Real. Like, so we're a tech company. Did I say that? We're like, we have tech. And so it's a totally different transformation where I can actually confidently say to somebody now, as Liz said, right, we have to show them. We can't just tell them like, hey, look at, this is how someone is going to go past your yard sign and immediately they're going to land in your AIRM.
Yeah.
Is it, by the way, is it ARM or is it AIRM? I don't know yet, but
AIRM. Oh, it's funny. We had Pritesh on Rocket Fuel 3 weeks ago, and it was him and Jimmy Mackin. And my issue with Curator was always like, bro, why don't you guys just build a CRM? And I think if Chris and Jimmy could go back, they probably would. But I asked Pritesh and Jimmy now why they're not building a CRM. And Pritesh, I didn't know at the time exactly what he was envisioning Leo to be, but he just said, I think the CRM of the future is the one you never really have to log into. And I thought that was really cool insight. So it's really cool. I learned when we built our tech company, you have to be around people that see the world differently than you do, and people that are just like dreamers. Like, we got in this room of like geeky kids that are just like upset with the way online check-in for your flight works. And so they're like, I want to change this. And it's like, you have to be around people that see change and want to disrupt it, which I think Pritesh is definitely one of those people. Jordo, what's your now I will?
Oh yeah, it's like I think it's like the time is now to really start digging deep on the AI side of things. Like, it's happening so rapidly. It's kind of getting out of hand, and I love that our brokerage is diving into that already. But I don't think it's enough for us to just wait for them to do it. I think we have to like start building out and innovating ourselves. Right. And there's so many tools at hand. And I like the way Tony Robbins said it. And I'm going to butcher this quote, but he said, AI isn't going to take over you. It's the people that are going to leverage it that are just going to get ahead. And so I think we just have to figure out how to leverage it in every way possible. And so I love that there's collaboration in the room. I love that there's a lot of themes there. But I think now like is the time to start like really building out systems and custom GPTs. And I have some of this already, but I'm not really using it at the level at which I can.
Right.
And the industry, so there's so much compression to the commissions, and there's already so much low margins. Like, we have to learn to get ahead and get more done. So that's where I have that.
Clayton, what's your now? I will. What's your takeaway? Your biggest takeaway?
Yeah. So Jordan, I got a call from my marketing manager earlier today, and she was completely geeking out because she allowed ChatGPT to take over her screen and take control of Follow Up Boss and send out. We've got this big client event coming up, and she told ChatGPT what she wanted to do and how she wanted it to interact with Follow Up Boss. What typically would take her 3 to 4 hours to push out, Chat did it in about 15 minutes, and so it's just to your point, it's moving so fast, and I'm just, again, I'm anxious and excited to see what comes out of this. So my biggest takeaway is, first of all, I love getting in rooms with men and women that are where I want to be, and spending 7 years with my previous company, I just knew I had this vision of 10,000 partners, all over the world. I just came to the realization that it wasn't going to happen at EXP. I am so confident that it not only, of course, can happen here, but it's going to happen here, and it's still like we are just getting started. It's so interesting to me that I have I'm sure you all do as well. I have conversations on a weekly basis with people who are like, I didn't even know Reel was a thing. Like I was going here, or I was going there, and I came across some content, and so it's still very much a ground floor opportunity. I'm more excited about the future than I was when I joined 19 months ago. So that's that was my biggest realization, and what I'm going to do moving forward is just keep on growing, man.
Love it. Tamara, bring us home. What are you going to do now? Leaving Rise, what's your walk away?
Definitely going to get louder and prouder and encourage others to do the same. And I think the thing that is going to be the most powerful thing that I implement is being able to leverage my time more with the whole AI, being able to now, I really have always wanted to do a podcast, always wanted to do all these different videos and things like that. And learning through that session how to do that and honestly be almost hands off and have somebody else do it, but it's still you. I think I had a conversation actually at 5:00 this morning with another agent here in Michigan. She is creating like 3 personas. One, is specifically going to be dedicated to attraction. And I absolutely love that because it's like we have to have all these different conversations and it just becomes so overwhelming. But I think that ability to use AI and to clone ourselves in 3, 4, 5 different ways, whatever you're going after, is the game changer, the biggest game changer for me that I took away there.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much. It was transformative. It was amazing. It was family. It was part family, part Jetsons, part everything all in one. Part Ozzy Osbourne. If you haven't seen it yet, go check out Hatch's video. It was awesome. So at Real Erik Hatch, at Jordan Terrell. Liz, how do people follow you?
How do they find me? At Elizabeth McNally _real estate.
There we go. Clayton?
Ooh, like on IG?
On IG, yeah.
Yeah, at Clayton Gits.
At Clayton Gits. Tamara?
At Tamara Flema.
At Tamara Flema. Hey, guys, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
I hope you're finding value in the content you've been consuming, and my goal is to earn your subscription. So subscribe down below so that you get notified when we drop new content every single week.